everybody. It is time for the weekly box office update. Welcome back to the channel. Like, comment, subscribe for more of this. I'm going to go into this was a slowdown, but it was always expected to happen at some point. But this weekend looked pretty good considering we're entering the late summer, fall. That's what it is. It's almost the end of August. School's about to start back up. September is usually not a big box office month. Neither is August, but August, had the Odyssey and Spider Man. And these are the estimates. So we'll probably get the full numbers tomorrow, like every week. Monday kind of rounds everything out officially. But Spider Man Brand New Day pulled in $39 million domestically. Insidious pulled in 25 million domestically. It actually opened to number one on Friday, but the rest of the weekend is still kind of lost. The Odyssey made 19 million. Geez, still. Paw Patrol made about 9 million, and the Oak Street 9 million. Mutiny 7.5 million domestically. Tony, which I really want to see, made about 5 something million. Hey, 3 million for the Fast and the Furious anniversary. We had some pretty good. I really want to see Spot Weekend too, because I adore Leslie Mann, and I wanted to see that, but I didn't get a chance to. But I do want to see that. Yeah, Spider Man just won't leave number one. It's his fourth weekend, and it made $39 million. That's another 45% decline, which is actually an improvement over its earlier drops, which is fine. I mean, it's been out for 4 weeks, which is pretty much, it's been out for a month, and it is at $2.2 billion at the box office. Like, there's no concern for Spider Man. Like, the movie's done what it needed to do, and then some for the box office in and of itself. So yeah, and now the totals are getting just ridiculous at $2.220 billion. Domestically, it's at 854, and internationally, it's at 1.3 billion. So we're good on Spider Man. Like, if it drops off a little bit more, like, I'm not gonna be upset because it's done. It's doing what it has to. It's blown past No Way Home at this point. At this point, 900 million domestic is probably on the horizon. We'll have to see. Like I said, things are starting to slow down at the box office. That last little summer push was insane for Spider Man and the Odyssey. Insidious gives horror yet another win, though. Insidious, out of the further, opened to 25 million domestically, and it's the kind of movie August kind of needs. It doesn't have to make Spider Man numbers, and as a horror movie, I believe it opened up to a total of 60 something million, which is crazy. That is like actually kind of crazy. It opened to $60 million totally. We're looking at the Odyssey, which the legs are still there, 19 million in its sixth weekend, and it dropped only 17%. That puts Nolan's film at approximately 539 million domestically, and has a global worldwide box office of 1.4 billion. This is exactly what we've been trying to talk about. When the opening was huge, but the legs are what transformed the Odyssey into a beast. It just is doing what it needs to do. Paw Patrol is also doing pretty well. It's not amazing for a family movie to drop 55%, but there's still a clear young family audience showing up. And I think Paw Patrol actually just passed $100 million. It's probably at the profiting stage at this point. It wasn't an expensive movie. The End of Oak Street did take a bit of a hard hit, had a 57% drop, and it's just not doing as well as I would have liked. But it did bring in another 48 million. So about $86 million total. It wasn't bad. It's developing. It's not really a failure. It's not really a flop either. But I do think the marketing for the movie wasn't particularly great, so it didn't like grab audiences to go see it. But people seem to be enjoying it. I do think Jason Statham's Mutiny opened up to a very modest 7.5 million domestically. It's not anywhere near blockbuster territory, and the international performance, like, we don't know what it has done yet internationally. It could have easily opened up to like 15 million. We don't know. Tony does pretty well. It went from number 18 to 7, and it's just expanded a good amount. It's still a great result for a film that had been playing much smaller, but its domestic total is now 6 million. I have no idea how much A24 spent on the film, so I can't really give you guys a lot of insight on that. But it just looks like like we've seen a pretty good situation here. We still have a pretty solid box office, steady, and I think Insidious is probably going to do even probably a little bit less than it did this weekend. But Insidious doesn't really need that much to be good. Like I said, horror movies consistently win at the box office because they're fairly inexpensive and they tend to break even. So it is what it is, bruh. It is what it is. And now the interesting question is whether the remaining late August releases can keep things around this level before September starts, because you have Coyote versus Acme this weekend and a couple other things. I do think Coyote versus Acme is going to do pretty good, but I don't think it's going to do as great as people are saying. But we'll have to wait and see because all the reviews are saying it's great. So what we're looking at here is Spider-Man is officially at 2.22 billion. Insidious is at open to 60 million. The Odyssey is at 1.4 billion. Paw Patrol is at about 100 million, a little bit more than that. The End of Oak Street is around 86 billion. We just don't know the internationals for a lot of these other movies yet. And Toy Story 5 is still trucking along, which is it is really, really good to see this. This is a nice looking box office. And all this stuff just is, yeah, horror movies continue to be so valuable to theaters. It doesn't need 200 million to be meaningful. Like Insidious is open to this. If next week it made another 40 million and they crossed 100 million dollars at the box office, Insidious is fine. Insidious is fine. So we're Toy Story 5 is really still hanging around. Toy Story 5's got some legs, bro. But it's at that point where the domestic market has now surpassed 7 billion, up about 20.4% from last year at this point, while the summer season itself has generated approximately 4.4 of that 7 billion. So that's probably the number I'd emphasize, and it's a number that should be emphasized. So we're at a 7 billion domestic box office, and we still have September, October, November. We still have 4 months left, and we still have Doomsday to think about. I don't think anything's going to come out between September and December that's going to like give us those numbers. Like as much as I would like to see Hex do well, the original Disney animated film, they're not even really marketing it, and I just don't know. So we'll have to see. But that's been me. I've given you guys a nice little box office update as I always do. I was like, comment, subscribe for more, and I'll see you guys on the next one.